The MILF Experience.
Whoa.
She's a podcast on YouTube. She has candid discussions on pregnancy, parenting, sex, and relationships. It's also an online community for moms and single moms and moms to be. So make sure you go and follow her. It's the MILF Experience podcast, again on YouTube, and an interactive feed on IG at MILF Experience. Make sure you go listen to her. She has some great shows, some great points.
Yes.
Make sure you go check her out and support her.
The MILF Experience.
The MILF Experience.
Indeed.
Mom name, right?
I had a petting zoo.
So, all right, since, as First Lady Shay said, that we're technically continuing International Women's Day, and we do have a couple of our guests that are here. So, First Lady Shay, do you want to introduce our guests as well as Mr. Reen? You want to introduce the guests that's here? We do have both of them that's here right now. Let our listeners know who will be chatting it up with us.
All right. So, ladies, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. We'll start off with Dee Dee. You can tell us, where you're calling in from and, what it is that you do.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aditi. Hope you all can hear me. I'm calling in from Toronto, and I'm a school social worker and guidance counselor at the Toronto District School Board.
Wow.
Nice. Yes.
Nice. Big up. And then we have Medina. Do you want to let our listeners know who we are?
Hey, everyone.
How you doing?
My name is Medina. I'm a registered nurse, and I work at a local shelter here in downtown Toronto.
Nice.
Yeah.
Super happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Definitely.
Nice. Good lady.
Nice to be here. So let's get this conversation started.
Yeah.
All right. So, Medina, would you like to go ahead first? Tell us a bit about yourself again and, just your trials and your triumphs as a woman in your career field and any advice you have for women. It's about you. Celebration on you. Yeah. So let's celebrate you right now.
Thank you. I mean, so I'm just so happy to be here and happy to connect with you folks. I guess Oh, thanks. I mean, I guess starting off, I grew up in a lot of different places. And I grew up in a culture where, there was a lot of, there wasn't any really division of labor in the home. So I grew up watching like my aunts, my mom, just like doing different housework, cooking, cleaning, working full-time job, like that kind of life. And so growing up, I sort of wondered, like, why are all the women in the kitchen doing all the work and all the men are sitting on the sofa and just sort of like chilling and expecting these types of things. And so I was really outspoken, I guess, because I'm a first generation Canadian in my family. I was super outspoken about like just gender in general.
Right.
And my brother ended up in a helping profession. He's a social worker. And so that was a huge inspiration to me in terms of wanting to help folks and choosing nursing, which is a female dominated profession as well. So, I would say as someone, like, I'm in my early 30s now, and I have found that, like, as I get older, there's all these types of sort of societal pressures, and it's like how to navigate those types of expectations, right? And then seeing like with my family and the difference of culture as well. And we can maybe talk about that later on the show, like how that's really impacted like my choices as well, whether choosing to conform with those types of things or not. But the fact that I'm here in Canada and I do have a choice. And that speaks to my privilege as well. But yeah, like, I mean, I'm really, really passionate about women's health. And I think that's also what inspired me to work with like our young folks experiencing homelessness as well. Really helping those that are, newcomers or just survivors of like a lot of violence, and just really reaching in to help out those folks as well.
Beautiful.
I feel like I forgot what your question was. I do that a lot.
No, it's fine because you're talking about the importance. We were just, discussing, what are some of the accomplishments that you've achieved, maybe some trials and tribulations that you've went through to get to where you are now.
Totally. So like, I mean, I think I probably talked a little bit about that, but I would say as a woman, you know, and I don't know if Aditi or you, Shay, can appreciate this. I just sort of find that we have to try a little harder, be a little bit more, you know, overachievers to sort of get the same type of respect and earn the same type of respect as our male colleagues or just male peers. So from that perspective, always wanting to strive, you know, for excellence. But like, do you actually end up at that level? Maybe not necessarily. So I would say from that perspective, I try to be an overachiever. I'm right now pursuing my master's of science in public health at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. And so that's also been like a really great in terms of my professional development, has been really good. Yeah. I mean, I also have like a really supportive partner. I have supportive like social network in general. So I know that really, that's a really important part of why I'm supported in achieving my goals.
Amazing. And so, what do you do, Medina, when it comes to, you know, having these experiences as a woman? And I'm going to say on a daily basis, right? Things always come up, you know, it's a daily basis. What are some things that you may do for self-care, right? Taking care of yourself, you know, totally. I think it's super important. Self-care is one of the most important things I find we as women sometimes tend to neglect because we're always saving the world, right? And forgetting to save ourselves. So what are some self-care things that you may do for yourself?
I mean, definitely taking some alone time. I'm in a setting where I'm like constantly surrounded by people, like constantly surrounded by things that I have to do and get done in a given day. And so really being able to take some time for myself, and whether that's like exercise, whether that's, you know, going like getting a massage, which I do like to do every month, and treat myself, and or you know, doing some yoga, doing some meditation. But then I am a very social person, and so I do find that connecting like with my inner circle, with my best friends, with my parents and my best friends, my siblings as well. And most importantly, my partner, who is like incredibly supportive of my like personal, professional goals. So even like, I don't know, making a really good meal. I really enjoy being in the kitchen and like cooking something or baking something. So again, like all things that I can do on my own. Yeah, that's like super therapeutic for me. I'm lucky. I have options in terms of my self-care.
That's great. That's great. It's amazing. That's super important. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Let's go to Aditi.
We want to hear Aditi. We're going to come back to you again, Medina. Don't worry. Just a little bit, Aditi, a little bit about you, who you are, a bit of your experiences. Aditi, are you with us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just had to plug in my phone, charge it. So similar to Medina as well, you know, we're in similar fields. She's in nursing. I'm in social work. I found that even when I started early in my career doing my bachelor, my master's degree was a very female dominated field. I worked at the Children's Aid Society for about 7 years. Now I'm at the school board, and it's most of my colleagues are female, but surprisingly enough, all of the management and directors and administrators and things I see are men, especially like Caucasian men in particular. So that's always kind of shocking to me because it's female dominated. You would think there'd be more females at the top representing our field. But that's really certainly not the case. Like Medina said, you sort of have to work twice as hard, especially if you're a woman and a racialized woman on top of that. So I find that there's still a lot of biases in our field in social work and in nursing and community services. I mean, I love my job. I take it very seriously. I do what I can, but I still feel like at the end of the day, the people at the very top are really the ones calling the shots. They're the ones hiring, firing. They sort of dictate the terms of the Toronto District School Board, the Children's Aid Society. So I do feel like there's like more discrimination at the top levels, whether it's politics or it's about money. But I mean, that doesn't stop me from pursuing my dreams and climbing the ladder and doing what I can. But I know I feel like it's a lot more difficult for women, especially even going to university at Ryerson. A lot of the professors that I had were male, which was also a surprise to me because the field is so dominated by females. I think at least 80% of social workers are female. So that's something that I encountered. a lot, but I think that my experience, like after I graduated from Ryerson, I worked abroad for about 6 years in Southeast Asia and East Africa. All of that experience, I think, has sort of built up my resume and helped me become just more versatile and flexible, working with so many different populations and communities. And I see the adversity abroad. I see the challenges, but I mean, I don't let that stop me. You have to sort of band together and come together as women, especially if you want to sort of make a change. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, like doing more outreach in the community, running more programs in the schools, fundraising for inner city schools and things like that. But I find that it's very common for women to feel this way, especially when they're in community services. So that's something that I think probably Medina she might relate to as well, being a nurse.
That's great. And so what are some of your, self-care tips that you have for routines that you have for yourself?
I think it's so important for sure, self-care. I think sometimes I don't practice enough self-care because it's always like you're always giving on the go as a social worker. But I'm sure similar to a lot of you, try to go outside, get some exercise, eat well. I love to travel. Shay knows that. But since the pandemic hit,
right? We need to go on another vacation soon.
I know, like honestly, Atlanta was one of the last trips like a couple years ago. But I find that it's so hard to partake in self-care since the pandemic because I like to go out. I like to travel. That immediately stopped since 2020. So it's like trying to find new ways. Like now I'm trying to go on hikes in my neighborhood or trying to spend time at home chilling with my friends. So I think I'm taking pleasure in the simple things in life, even if it's just like I chill all weekend and I watch Netflix, I cook a nice hearty meal. Little things, painting, journaling, listening to music, all of that is sort of helps me when I'm having a rough day.
That's
okay,
excellent.
That's nice. So starting to embrace like the things that are that you really don't need much outside influence. That's always good because then you're always able to do it at least by yourself.
Yeah.
So that's
I
really nice.
actually have a question, really, truthfully. For,
Wait, I do
Anita.
want to have a disclaimer before you start with the question because today we are celebrating
Here we go.
International Women's Day, and I just want to make it clear that we allowed you guys to be here.
Definitely.
Wow.
All right.
Yes, we appreciate
You know
that.
what?
Okay.
You know what?
Appreciate that.
It's your show. You know
All
what?
right,
It's,
I just wanted to put that out there.
I'm out of here.
We
Well,
allowed you guys to be here.
Can I just?
Yes, you
ask
can
just
go ahead.
Just one? Is
Yes,
that okay?
yes, you're more than welcome
Thank you.
to.
Is it okay if I can ask you a question, Adina? Is that okay? Because
Yes.
I know it's catered to you. So, Adina, are you with me? Yes, you are. So,
Yeah, I'm here.
That's Medina. There's Adina. So I know you were talking about like, hey, with social work and like, there's not a lot of women in the top, and why not?
For sure.
Good question. Why not? Is there a reason? Like, are they trying to apply to be at the top and getting shut down, or have you tried and it seemed like they're like, yeah, brush you off? Like, what's happening?
Well, I can't maybe specific. I think that might have been maybe Aditi that was talking about that.
Yes.
Because oddly enough, like I think in my organization, I would say there are actually mostly women in our like upper level management.
Okay.
Are mostly women, notably white women, in positions of power, like where I work.
Right.
But maybe I'll let Aditi take the floor.
Well, I was saying that, for me, I guess for social work, it's quite different. But I mean, I was doing some research and articles because I was also wondering why that is. And I know they say that a lot of women around this age in their, early 30s, late 20s, they're having babies, they're getting married, like their goals are elsewhere. So maybe they're not applying to these jobs as much. But I personally know a lot of women that have applied for these supervisory positions, but somehow their male counterparts are getting it. I don't know why that is, or if it's like an old boys club, as a lot of industries are. But I personally know a lot of women that have applied that really haven't gotten it, or they might get like a secondment somewhere, but like the director is a male. Like at the Children's Aid Society and the TDSB, like our directors are all male. So I don't know if just less women are applying or it's just like a bias that they have. But I think that these industries are so used to having male representation at the top. I don't know if it's an insecurity or it's just the way it's gone, but I time and time again, like my manager's a male and our team has over 50 social workers and I think 47 are women, but yet my manager is a male, which is interesting. So who's to say why that is, but it's just something, that I've noticed, whether less women are applying or it's just like a old boys club. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of both.
Do you feel away? Just a little bit, maybe?
Whatever.
I'm just saying. I don't know. Do you feel a little bit away, or I don't know? But anywho, I guess I'll give it back to really the host of the show, which is Miss Doreen, and obviously First Lady Shay running today.
So it looks like we have another guest who is here. Her name
If
is.
you would like to go ahead.
Is she able to hear me?
I think she is.
Can she hear me?
She can hear.
Hello.
What's her name? Is it?
Hello?
Hello. Yeah. Can she hear me,
Yes.
Ramona? Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Hi.
I can hear you.
So we have a guest, Ramona. Ramona, I'm gonna let you tell Ramona, the beautiful name, right? We're gonna let Ramona tell our audience a little bit about you and a bit of what you do. So you're coming from a different perspective, I know, as a business owner. So if you just want to talk about that a little bit, tell us about yourself.
Well, I own Flawless Beauty, so I do lashes. I used to do brows as well, but with COVID, I stopped doing that. I recently started back in school. I'm doing the nursing program,
Amazing.
so that's exciting. I know we have someone else who's an RN in here, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I recently started doing that. I'm the mom of 2 beautiful daughters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So, you know, Ramona, in speaking with you when I come and get my lashes done, and she beautifies me.
She does her lashes.
Yes.
I see Doreen on fleek all the time.
That's Ramona. Like,
Okay, so Ramona.
and I get very excited to go and lay down in her bed because, you know, we share a lot of experiences and we
Yes.
share a lot of stories, and we, you know, we have similar situations with regards to our family life. But Ramona, I just want to know if you want to share, like, you know, starting the business, being now going back to school and being a mother, and, you know, how do you find that? What are some of the obstacles that you face sometimes? Because you're multitasking right now, you know, and the RN
Yeah,
program,
so
as we know, is not an easy program.
Going back to school was definitely difficult. With time management, trying to go to school, have time for clients, have time for homework, and I'm doing my placement as well. So that definitely is difficult. As for starting the business, that was difficult just at the beginning in order to get clientele, right? Because the industry is so saturated, right? So it was scary at first because I did leave a full-time position to start my own business, but it's definitely paid off. And I'm grateful that I did make that choice to start my own business.
Do you mind telling us what you were doing prior to actually starting?
Prior to that, I was actually working in the hospitals, but I was working for the LIN. Before it was called the CCAC.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with that?
Yes.
It's it's like the government portion of healthcare
Right.
that deals with actually home care, like when patients are at home,
Right.
and then they go out to the different agencies. So I worked there for probably like about 13 years.
And then you made that big
Yeah.
step to start your own business.
Well, first I went down to part-time, and then I left completely.
Okay.
Okay, and so does this affect the decision, or did this affect the decision for you to actually start school for nursing?
I've always wanted to go to nursing, and I actually did start it a long time ago when my girls were a lot younger. But at that time, I couldn't do it. It wasn't feasible for me to be working full time, going to school full time, having homework. I couldn't do it then, so I actually dropped out back then. And I always said that once my girls were bigger and I had more time to myself, that I was going to go back and finish my nursing. So that's mainly why I went back. It was just a goal and accomplishment that I wanted to do for myself.
Nice.
Yo,
That's
big up to
great.
the women. For
Yeah.
real though. Big up
Yeah.
to all the
Yeah.
women, because honestly and truthfully, it doesn't even matter race, age, or whatever. I realize y'all go through a lot, and yet you guys are doing everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Raising kids,
Yes.
going back to school, having 2, 3, 4 jobs, doing what you got to do,
Right.
put your career on the back burner just to support the family, and then go like, yo.
We have to
big,
make decisions that you guys don't necessarily have to make, right?
Yeah, I think it's harder for us.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a life for women,
Yeah.
yeah. We have
especially
to.
when women who has children. So.
Exactly, because I think more of it falls on the woman. Like as moms, we tend to do more of the caregiving for the children.
Yeah. So
They
Ramona,
have this fat nurturing spirit, and kind of it goes without being said that women, are the caregivers.
Yes.
So Ramona, what do
I agree.
you do for self-care? Those days when, you're stressed out, maybe school is heavy, you have clients, you have the girls, everything around you. What do you do for self-care? What do you do to take care of yourself?
I like going I like going to get my nails done,
Yes.
going for pedicures, just something for myself, whether it's shopping or getting my hair done, just something for me.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what I like doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
good.
obviously, when it's nicer, I'm going for walks, getting outdoors. In the winter, I'm not really into going for walks and outdoors, though, when it's too cold,
Yes, yeah.
to be honest.
Understandable.
Yeah. In the summer, though, I like it. So, more walking, going for a walk on the beach, doing things like that.
Nice, nice.
But in the winter, it's a bit harder.
Yeah, I know, definitely. It's harder for me all year round. I'm trying.
I don't like being outside in the cold. So for me, that I don't love it.
Yeah.
Definitely understand that. I know I don't like. I'm a December baby, but I don't like the winter. And if I don't have to go outside as much in the more colder
Yeah.
months of the year, I definitely try to find
You just don't want to.
self-care at home.
So I had a question for our guests. With International Women's Day was on Tuesday. We had a day, yay, right, in this man's world.
Wow.
Wow,
We
here
don't
we
have a
go.
date.
Yeah.
Because it's your world. So every day is your guys.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just
She's been talking. Oh,
every
man.
day is your guy's day,
Oh,
right?
man.
So we had a day in this man's
I'm
world.
gonna get back to you on that.
How do
Go
you
ahead, go ahead.
how do you ladies feel about, do you think we're celebrated enough? Right? We have International Women's Day, we have Mother's Day for those of us who are mothers, and 1 or 2 Valentine's days, and that's it, right? Do you think we as women
That's you. That's more than I think guys get.
No,
You don't think
again,
so?
do you three think that we are celebrated enough?
No, not at all. The fact that we are given a day,
Right.
like it should be 365 days
Exactly.
that we're celebrated.
Yeah.
I don't like when I understand, in terms of gender inequity and, from that perspective, it's good to have a day to sort of commemorate that
Right.
and to acknowledge, not like acknowledge the inequity, but then also to celebrate. So that's great. But what happens is then what happens the rest of 364 days,
Right.
right? Like, and
We're not
that
remembered.
speaks to your point exactly, Ramona. Like, this is a man's world.
Yes. Yes.
And so I personally, what did I do on International Women's Day? I worked and I hustled, and I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, today's International Women's Day. Like, it's like I have things to do, I have places to be, and I have to earn.
You have to earn. So you didn't even get to feel
So
celebrated.
it's not like Family Day where we get the time off. It's like, okay, we continue our regular day. And
That's exactly right.
You have to sort of just remember that it's Women's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And
So hold up. So you guys want a paid day?
why not?
Why not?
Hate that day.
Why not?
I
guys
think
already
we do
get
enough
paid.
to be able to
We get paid for what?
be
You guys already get paid
rewarded
more than
with a
us.
paid day off.
Yeah, you guys already get paid more than us. Wage inequity is already existing, so we're not even gonna go there. So yes, we can get a little bit more money on
I was-
certain days.
Oh, we could go there. That's fine. I'm happy to go there.
you guys ready?
Sorry, it's your guys' show.
I just have a disclaimer. It's 4 to 2, I believe. 4 to 2. There's 2 of us. O'Neill.
Luckily,
So
feel privileged.
yeah. So I wouldn't say anything.
Hey, you guys are supposed to be here for support, not to be this.
Whoa.
The instigator.
100%. You guys are right.
And
Full support.
what about you, Aditi? How do you feel about being celebrated one day out of the year?
I feel like women are undervalued, we're devalued, we're oppressed, we're discriminated. I think it's just kind of a cop out to have International Women's Day. It should be a national holiday that we have off. Like Medina said, went to work. It was work as usual. The schools briefly touched upon it with students, but it really wasn't celebrated enough. Not everyone was even aware that it was International Women's Day. I would say a lot of my even know it, not unless they were scrolling through Instagram or something and was like, oh yeah, so I think the fact that it's just one day a year is kind of a sad attempt, because we live in a man's world. That's really the honest truth. So I think they need to do a lot more than just have International Women's Day. We need to have equal rights overall if you really want to see a change.
Right. And what about
I like
you,
how you touched on
Ramona?
that.
Ramona, how do you feel about being celebrated just one day out of a year with all that you do?
You know what? I was going to say that I didn't even know it was International Women's Day till I opened my Instagram. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Because we don't get that recognition, right?
No,
Christmas
I really,
comes-
to be honest, I had no idea until.
There was a placeholder and not much else, I believe, personally.
Yeah. I didn't even know till I opened Instagram and I saw everybody posting about it. And then I was like, shoot, today's International Women's Day. I had no idea.
I also had no idea. I can't even. I really just.
You didn't know either?
I didn't know either. It's not until I was scrolling and I was like, oh, I'm seeing all these wonderful pictures of women and fists up and, and I'm like, what's
Right?
Well, that
happening?
seems to be 5 for 5 because none of us really
Well, you
International
didn't
Women's Day. I mean, because there's, like you guys have already discussed, like there's no real difference between the day before and the day after.
No, there
It's
wasn't.
still a weekday. You still have to work. You still have to continue on with your regular duties.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
just paid anymore.
as you said, for moral support. Like
I have to say, my school didn't even recognize it either. Like the school didn't even they didn't even notify us.
That was
Not an email, nothing.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's very unfortunate. That's what you were saying, something, Rooms?
No, I'm just saying. I noticed it. I was just like, oh yes, International Women's Day.
You
I knew.
noticed it, but you didn't know
I knew.
prior to.
I knew.
You noticed it.
Okay, but the
I
question
knew.
is, when did you guys notice it?
I knew about it.
Yo, I knew about it like
The same
every
day.
year.
I knew
Like,
about
I
it.
celebrate it. I want to make sure I'm big up all the
my
women. And
God.
I'm
I
like,
wonder what you did. So if you celebrated it, Rooms, I'm gonna call you out. You
Okay.
celebrated. So
Right.
what did you do for
You know,
International Women's
you
Day?
gotta call up everyone that you know, like
I
the
didn't get a
women,
call.
and be like, "How are you doing, This
Lady
is your
Shay, did you
day."
get a call?
You know what I mean?
I did get a phone call, but it wasn't about International Women's
Neither
Day.
did I.
Oh gosh, probably be cussing.
Neither
Sorry.
did I.
You know what? I take that back. I'm sorry.
But you know what, Rooms, you actually bring up a good point. Like, what do you guys, I'll give you guys a little bit of a little shine right now.
Okay.
What do you guys think you should be doing or could be doing to celebrate women?
What I do all the day. What I do every day.
Which is?
Come home, cook,
Oh,
clean. You know what I mean? Go to work, bread in the bread, do what we gotta do.
yeah, but to me, that sounds very oppressive.
Wow. To
Yes.
you.
Yes. Because you're not mentioning, your workplace. You're not mentioning anything with regards to education, right? You went right to going home and cooking, and that's how you're celebrating women. And we're so much more than that.
So
We can cook ourselves. We can clean ourselves.
but really and truthfully, if like you throw it out there, right? It's majority of the women cooking, cleaning, doing whatever.
Right.
So it's good to have that break. If a man could come in, do that as well too, right?
No, but I feel like that's wrong. What
you
about
say
you,
you feel like
Mr.
that's wrong?
Yeah,
What
I feel
the-
like that's wrong. I feel like
I'll throw that to our guests as well too. Like, would you like your significant other or a man or whatever to come home and do the stuff that I guess society puts
That
on
you
women?
generally
You know what I
generally
mean? To
do
be
on like a day-to-day basis.
Right.
but
For-
that
for-
should
for
be
example,
all the time.
What is it? Okay, so that is a good question. What is something, ladies, that isn't done on a day-to-day basis, or that you do on a day-to-day basis that you would really wish if we had the opportunity to celebrate International Women's Day the way we wanted to? How would you want to celebrate it? So I'm gonna go with Dee Dee first.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it has to start really from the bottom to the top. Like, I feel like we should have equal pay. There should be an equal amount of women in top positions than men. I should feel like maternity leave and all those benefits should be longer and extended. There should be more support for single women and single mothers. I feel like it has to come from like all facets of society. There should be some political change, some educational change. Social media, the way that the media in general represents women is quite, I feel like especially in 2021 and 2022, like it's just insane, like how we're depicted still now in media. We're sexualized, or we're either labeled like a bitch or a slut, or however you want to name it. It's still like we're still not given that respect and equality on television and social media, and this is what little girls are growing up watching. So like I feel like the change has to come from all facets of society, and it can't just be like a band-aid solution, like, oh, here's International Women's Day. It has to be like, okay, abortion should be free and available for all. There should be free tampons and pads for all. Men and women should have equal amounts of pay. There should be equal positions that men and women lead in top CEO and CFO and CO positions, things like that. So I think it has to be micro level, quantifiable change.
And I think that's how you celebrate.
I agree.
That's
Definitely
celebration.
It seemed like you're the spokeswoman for International Day right now.
Yeah, that's
Didi, like it's you. Like we vote for her.
But do you see what the difference is in how she's saying we should be celebrated? That's what will elevate us, right?
Right, but you know what? I actually
Change has got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Right, I like what she said though, which is, I wouldn't say contradictory or whatever, because she said, hey, like to be called a bitch and the whole works, but sometimes women is calling women that word, right? So it's just like, I get it, like it's been out there, and maybe males start that first, or the men start that first, calling women out of their name and all that stuff, but like women are doing that too. So like, should we educate everybody and then kind of like take that word away? That
I think I'm gonna address what you're saying, Rims. I personally think that once we all come to terms with that women should be treated better, the insecurity of the women who are calling other women out of their names will hopefully die off. Because it takes a step to make another one. And it's unfortunate that, you know, some women just aren't there yet. And, you know, they kind of, the way that they're being treated, they're treating other women. Because that really is usually where that comes from. But yeah, I believe, just like Didi said, you know, it takes it from like micro levels to be able to go to macro levels. We've got to be able to, you know, really sit down and say, okay, what is the importance? How do we make it so that it's not just another day? It is, you know, something that we're doing 365, sometimes 366 days out of the year.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, I have what you said about sometimes, or a lot of times, it's other women. I think it is other women tearing other women down a lot of the times. It's not even men, it's women tearing other women down.
Yeah, and we do need to get away from that, right? Because they're looking at us. The men are looking at us, and, you know, we can only be treated on how we show people how to treat us, right? So I think that's why, like, this whole, you know, womanhood and sisterhood is super important, regardless of race, you know, regardless of sexual preference. But just to look at another woman and say, like, yo, you're my sister. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if we want to bring it all right back to mitochondrial Eve, we're all sisters and you know, brothers. But we need to really start to look at other females as sisters. And we really need to, you know, go to those phrases such as, you know, fix each other's crowns. You know what I'm saying? You see your sister hurting, you help your sister, you know? See your sister need help, you help your sister, right? Without any judgment, without any expectations. And I do think we are very far away from that. You know, we within ourselves are very far from celebrating other women within ourselves, right? Within our communities and everything like that. So I think that's super important. Super important that we do that. Medina?
Yeah, I think you raised a really good point in terms of women building other women up and sisterhood, and, you know, really trying to promote one another and spread a lot of like love. I think the reason why there is so much animosity is because there's competition, because there's very few spots at the top for women.
Right.
We're not at the table.
Right.
And so because of that, we have to I'm not saying this is what we should be doing, but we have to compete with one another and almost tear each other down to get to those selected spots at the top.
Right.
So
Super unfortunate.
Right. And then to tie that back to what Aditi is saying about like this whole top, it's on a macro level, it's a meso level, it's a micro level. It comes down to our day-to-day interactions with others, but it also it even transcends politics. Like it goes to religion. Like that, like patriarchy transcends all these different areas. Like you could be anywhere in the world and there's gender inequity, and yet like women are half the population.
Right.
And we're oppressed.
Yes.
So and oppressed in like really, really extreme ways, like with violence, but then also in more like in our day-to-day lives as well. So I think in order to build each other up, to fix each other's crowns, and really celebrate womanhood and sisterhood, there needs to be equal opportunity for all women.
Yes.
I like that.
That's what it all comes back to, is equal opportunity at the end
That's
of the
right.
day. We look at it from so many different perspectives and so many types of relationships, from business to, people that we keep around us, that if we had that equality on so many different levels, I think that, this International Women's Day would be appreciated a lot more, personally.
Yeah, no, I agree. And even like, speaking to Ramona, being a woman and dealing with women every day, mainly women. She there? She can hear me? Yep.
Yeah, she's
Dealing with women every day. How do you, I already know the answer because, I laid your back. But how do you interact with women to make women feel, you're already making them feel beautiful by doing their lashes, but, how do you engage with women?
I think a lot of women that come to see me sometimes just want to talk, or just have somebody listen to them. So it's not even advice, or it's not me talking to them, but it's women just want to vent. And I find that women all vent about the same thing. And I just listen. Like sometimes people just need someone to listen to them, who's not a friend, who's not going to give them unsolicited advice, who's really just not going to say anything but listen to them.
Someone who's unbiased.
Yeah. Like sometimes we don't want advice. We just want, to say something, or we just want to let it out and not have anybody say anything back or give their opinion. You just want to say it and that's it. And I find that's what a lot of women do.
Yeah.
Is it just like when guys go to like the barber shop and we kind of like chop it up?
I think it's exactly like when men go to the barber shop.
I lay down in her bed and I pour out my soul. I talk to her about everything. I just start talking. And I'm like, and you know what? And you know what? And I'm like, she just lets me talk and she'll give her opinions and I feel really good. Like other than just my eyelashes being done, I feel really, really good. And I think that's so important, like I said, that we try to make each other just feel good. You know what I mean? I do think that social media has a lot of impact negatively on how we deal with women also. When you see some posts and you see some comments from other women, it's from other women, it's very disheartening to know that other women, young women, are speaking about other women like this. So it feels really nice to kind of move away from that and have those experiences with other females in my life. I really do appreciate it.
Have somebody else to talk to who does share similar experiences or views and kind of have the same issues.
Yes.
It's nice to have somebody to just talk to about it.
Yes, it's super nice. And I mean, I myself have been like, I'm not perfect. There's been times where I've judged, and judged hard. Judged other women really hard, really, really hard. And I think part of that also is, as young girls, the experiences that we were supposed to have, or what we were taught to be when we grew up, right?
Right.
So, you know, you're
Yes.
young and you hear your parents say, you know, you must grow up and you must get married and you must work and you must have children and you must do this and you must do that.
Right.
So now you're growing up and you're seeing maybe other females not doing that and you're like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
why are they not doing that? Or why are they doing this? And, you know, being a mother, I think it's very important that now, you know, someone said to me, they had pointed that out and said that we need to teach
Wait,
them.
Doreen,
Yes.
you know, are you going to say what I think you're going to say? Do you remember what you said to me the last time you were here? And I haven't forgotten it,
Say it, Livia.
about what we should be teaching our young
I wanna
daughters
hear- I
and
wanna
what
hear.
we teach them and what we expect when we should be saying something else.
Yes.
Is that what you were just going to say?
Yes, yes. Do you want to
Yes.
say it for me?
That has stuck with me. That stuck with me since you said it. Like, I've thought about
Yeah.
it quite a few times.
Because I've been guilty of that with my daughter. She's 11, and for the
Yeah.
last 10 years, you know, I'm always instilling when you get older and you're done school and you get married, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
When you get married, when you have
get-
kids.
right?
Yeah.
It's instilling all these expectations on her. When what I should be really saying is, you know, get to know yourself as you get older. Travel, make friends, excel in the career that you choose. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to get married. You don't have to have children. You don't have to do anything other than what you want to do. And that's how I've been I had to change my conversation and change the narrative for her, you know? Because I didn't want her to grow up with all this pressure of, you know, go to school, do this, get
Having
married,
been married
have
and
children.
having
Yeah.
children.
Being forced on her.
Right. And it's like that may not be what she wants, you know? Grow up, enjoy life, be you. You know what I mean? Be the most amazing female you can be, you know? That comes along with whatever, I'm gonna say it, you know, your sexual preference, your career. I know that's a hard one for you guys. We'll get there one day though.
Honestly,
Don't
'cause I
worry.
just got a daughter, so I'm like, oh,
Well, you have to teach her that though, right? You have to just
Definitely.
love them and make them
definitely.
allow them to grow to whoever they're going to be and not set those expectations, because those expectations cause anxiety, right? Because you have these thoughts of
Always afraid to fail of those expectations.
right. So it's so important to just let them be, just let them grow, especially our little girls.
Right.
Especially our girls. What do you think, Medina and Aditi?
Actually, before the kids jump, oh, sorry, Medina's coming in. Go ahead,
Yes.
Medina. Sorry.
Oh no, I 100% agree with, like, you sound like a really fantastic parent, Ramona, honestly. And when I heard that you own this business, you're in nursing school, you have kids, like, I honestly, shout out to you. Like, that is amazing. I work full time. I'm in school and I can't survive that. And I'm absolutely amazed with, like, you must, I don't know when you sleep, when you have time to just relax. And, like, honestly, I'm just, that's so wonderful. And I really wish you well with your career endeavors.
Thank
But
you. What
also,
are you in school for?
I'm doing my master's of science in public health, and I'm a registered nurse right now.
Okay.
You guys
Yeah,
should exchange
yeah.
numbers.
Good
after
for
this.
you.
Oh, thank you. No, but I really appreciate what you're saying a lot, because, you know, like I said, I mentioned it before, my parents are my best friends, but, like, definitely I was socialized with the expectation that I'm going to get married and be a mother one day. And I don't know if that's something that I want. Like, I'm married right now and I'm, like, obviously so happy with my partner, but we don't know if we want kids. Like, that's not,
And that's okay.
something that's our priority, and that is okay. But is it okay for my parents?
No.
Is it okay from my community, my friends? That's something that is an expectation. So by you even having these conversations with your daughter about it's okay to do whatever you want to do, who you choose to be, who you choose to love, that's completely on you and everything's accepted, is really, I think, the messaging that all young girls need to hear.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
kind
It
of-
is very important, in all honesty. I'm going to kind of touch on what you just said, because, I mean, like myself, I'm someone who I just don't believe I'm ever going to have children, and that's a personal choice. I think the thought of me having kids was always like, oh, okay, well, I need to get my mom and my dad grandchildren. But the older I get, early 30s now, where I definitely feel like even when you look at a lot of women nowadays, they're not feeling that pressure to necessarily, or like, well, yes, of course you have your family pressures, but society, I believe, is starting to more so adjust to women who are okay with, living with their life partner, whether they get married or not, and just deciding not to have children. So yes, I'm totally with that, and I know Dee Dee talked about some other things like even pro, like allowing women to have abortions if they want to. It's your body, it's your life, and that's all what it comes back down to, right? It's like allowing.
And do you find that why you don't have children or why you don't want children? Because I find like I have friends who don't have children and they're asked that quite often. And it's almost a little bit invasive to ask somebody that, right? Like that could be
Sometimes
something
you just don't want them.
yeah, or it could be a very personal question, right? Like
It's your
a bit
reason, and it doesn't need to match with anybody else's expectations.
right.
Yeah. And that's one of the things we as women, just have to know again that that's okay.
Yeah, and have boundaries and what we're going to answer and what we're not going to answer.
Yeah, we have every right to do
Exactly. I
that.
definitely agree with that statement right there, because when people are like, "Oh, when are you gonna get married?" Some people choose not to get married ever, right?
Yeah.
Why do I have to have an answer for that? When are you gonna have
Yeah.
children? Same thing. So what you were just saying, yeah, we definitely have to set boundaries on, what are the things that we're just like, okay, especially if I've told you once, then I've already told you. We
Yeah.
don't have to continue having this conversation where it makes you feel comfortable because you think I should be married by this time, or you feel like I should have kids by this time, or that I should have this and that in line I'm gonna say in line in your view
Right.
and not mine.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah.
another thing, sorry, I guess Miss Doreen said it where she says like changing that mindset, right? Because we I guess women been brought up no matter what culture you are or whatever. It's almost just like, as you said, get married,
Have kids.
right? Have kids,
Go to school.
go to school,
You know?
do this and that, right? And you said it best right now, and it actually hit home when you're like pressure. I can only imagine the pressure you was getting at a young age, where from your parents or whoever is just like, hey, this is what you got to do,
Yeah.
because they're set in their old school ways, and
I
going
didn't
back to
follow the
grandparents for
blueprint.
homework, right? So you
I
did
didn't
not-
follow the blueprint, and I got judged. Had children out of wedlock, you know what I mean? And I did everything backwards, right? Everything I was supposed to do in my 20s, finish school, do all that, I'm doing now, right?
So you're having fun now. That's what you're trying to say.
But okay, but in whose opinion is that backwards?
Right, so-
if it's
so-
your opinion that you did it backwards, that's one thing. But if someone told you that you did it backwards, that is going back to
Well, I
expectations.
should say I did it backwards according to the expectations of not just my mother, expectations of the Black Caribbean community. You know what I mean? The minute you have that child young and out of wedlock, you're labeled. Boom. Like that's
You're done.
that's
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying? And I made it this far, thank God. But just before we have a few more minutes here, I'm gonna give you guys a minute to say anything if you guys have anything to say. The
We
man,
love you. We love you.
the man, nothing else to say.
Oh, I said we love you. Like we love. Well, I love all women. I love women.
What?
And I don't.
And appreciation would be great too.
We appreciate you guys. 100%. We appreciate you.
What is it that you appreciate?
I thought you said 1 minute.
No, we have time. What do you appreciate?
Now we have
Remember,
time.
you also have to remember, as much as we talk about the expectations, everything, like we populate the earth. Like we're amazing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if it was not for us, you guys would not be here.
You know what? You know what? To be honest
Like-
with you, I take it for granted before. As I just said, I just had a daughter, right?
Congratulations.
Big up to my wife and,
Yes.
and my daughter. You know what I mean? And my thing was, I was just like, I took everything for granted because when I see my mom raising us, the whole works, and I was like, okay, cool, Dad, your mom, that's what you're supposed to do. And I see Mr. Ian and whoever, friends, all that. I'm like, okay, you guys are moms. Like, that's what you're
Right.
supposed to do. And then it really hit home where I'm like, okay, here's my wife. And I'm like, oh, wow.
That's what you're supposed to do,
Wow.
right? Right.
I'm like, this is wow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm here, which I should be at home. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Kind of thing. And she's holding down the fort. She's doing this and that. Da, da, da. She's like, baby's
Yeah.
crying, dude. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, so
Right.
me
Multitasking.
multitasking, as sorry, like, well, Medina, Didi, you,
Ramona,
Jareen,
yeah.
Ramona, everyone, where you're just like, as I said, mentioned it earlier, when you guys are going to school, doing this and that, 20 jobs.
Right.
Gotta take care of the kids, and you know what?
Thank you. So as we're nearing the end of the show, I just
We
wanted to
appreciate that.
give each
welcome.
one of our guests just like, a quick second. What advice would you guys give to women maybe women who are feeling extremely oppressed, depressed, feeling like
I was
they're
gonna
not
ask,
making any movement.
I was going to ask, I said, if there's any like little girls out there listening or whatnot.
Or
what
grown
would,
women too.
or grown women,
yeah,
what
grown
advice you would give them?
Aditi?
Yeah, I would say, one thing that's really been helpful is just no one walks in your shoes but you. You do you do what makes you happy. And another thing I would say is never too late to accomplish your dreams,
Yes.
to go back to school, to travel. It's never too late. You're really the author, of your own destiny. So do whatever makes you happy. Don't listen to anyone else.
Right, amazing.
I like that.
Ramona?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ramona.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, if I had to give advice or even give advice to my younger self, it would probably be not to care what other people think.
Right.
Not to care what society thinks, just do what's good for me, what I think is right and good, and not care so much what other people think.
Right. Amazing. I
Very
like
good.
that. Just don't care. Yep.
Yeah.
And Medina?
Medina?
I'd like to share advice that my parents actually gave me when I was a teenager that I live by those words, is to always be independent. Always be independent and have agency over yourself, whether that's physically, financially, emotionally, mentally. Work on yourself and you will find that happiness and that control in your life. I also want to quickly talk about what it means to be a woman, and just a quick message that you don't need to be a biological woman to be a woman.
Right.
I just want to throw that out there since we hadn't had that discussion this time around, but also just thanks so much for having me.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. We really do appreciate you women or you ladies coming on here to, celebrate International Women's Day with us. So thank you, Didi. Thank you, Ramona. Thank you, Medina. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you guys for coming. You guys were amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So once again, it's your boy Rooms.
Mr. I Am.
Lady Shay.
It's your girl, Miss Jareen.
What up? Thank you, EIP family. Please have a good night. Be safe. International Women's Day. baby.
Celebrate
Yeah.
women
Yes.
every day. Celebrate us every day. You guys are celebrated. We love
Equality.
all of you.
Amazing. Have a good night.
All right,
night.
have a good night.
Good night.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Peace out, everyone.
We hope that you've enjoyed the EIP Experience, a podcast for the people.
Hey, peace and blessings. This is Lucia D inviting you to join me each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. for Honey Drop here on iLive Radio. Journey with me each week as I spin the latest international sounds in new soul, R&B, hip-hop, and a little taste of everything in between. Every show features independent producers from across the globe in the beats beneath, and the 10 sweetest vibes of the week smooth out the night in the 10 Drop. Honey Drop, each and every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, here on iLive Radio. Serving up audible treats like honey, always with a heavy beat drop.
Every Friday, take a trip around the world with music from around the globe. Colors of Rhythm with your host DJ Ron John. Fridays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on iLive Radio, iliveradio.com.
Attention all musicians, bands, associations, clubs, and organizations that represent collective styles of music across Canada. Now is the time to rebuild our collective music nation. Genres like hip-hop, R&B, jazz, soul, reggae, gospel, and more united. The Collective Music Nation is a non-profit organization committed to the development of collective music. Free memberships are available now. Collective Music Nation. One voice. Strength in unity.
You're listening to iLive UK. Tune in to Talks Honest. Every first and third Sunday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Come and join me so we can get deep in discussion. Talks Honest. iLive UK. Changing the way you listen to radio.
Hello and welcome to the promo for Always Digging. My name is Jeff Skull, aka DJ Scully Funk. Every Sunday afternoon, my partner Gary, aka DJ Gaza Taylor, and I choose a theme and play our favorite songs that fit that theme. Tune in right here every Sunday from noon to 2 on iLive Radio.
Join the Music Collective family every Sunday for the Sunday Vibe from 12 till 4 on iLive Radio. For the best in quality music, special theme shows quarterly, and the infamous End of the Month show. When the Music Collective